Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Lupin by Story Archives. I'm your host, Mario Busto, alongside
the other host, Zachary Newton. Welcome back.
We're sprinting towards the finish line as we anticipate our next chapters, our next shows that we're going to be covering starting next week. For All Mankind, Season 4. And then the following week, Monarch Legacy of Monsters, which Apple's pushing hard because they just had their October 30th random nighttime event where they unveiled their latest products.
Scary fast.
Was that the tagline? Because they did it like before Halloween.
Yeah, it was scary fast. That's what I've been hearing, and they used it in the keynote.
I like it. Yeah, ladies and gents, we'll be dropping this episode 4 and 5, or chapter 4 and 5, Lupin coverage, and then we'll be dropping a 6 and 7 episode this week. And then next week, we got some stuff planned for All Mankind. We want to do some recaps of seasons 1 through 3. Those may be individual episodes, and we'll probably do a trailer reaction because some of you out there love that sort of thing. And then we will be gearing for the monster show. That should have came out in October. They should have dropped Monarch Legacy of Monsters in October.
Would have been
some
epic.
Monsters, you know?
Yeah.
I did watch a scary movie. I watched Five Nights at Freddy's, which stars Peter Malark or Josh Hutcherson, for those who haven't watched Hunger Games. Creepy. Not that scary, though. I was hoping it would have been a little freakier. But, yeah. I feel like that would be a fun movie to just kind of like, if we could do like a watch party with people.
Yeah.
That would be a hilarious one to do it with, for sure.
So you could have finished it all at night then, huh?
I didn't. I actually watched like the first 20-something minutes during nighttime. Then I was like, I'm, going to be dreaming about, possessed animatrons if I go to sleep. And so I watched the rest of it in the morning. But I'll be honest, it was kind of like I had to really push myself to get through it. It was not. Like, I actually did a Peacock subscription just to watch the damn thing. And then I found out after the fact that I had Peacock. So I paid for it for no reason.
Amazing.
So, yeah, there's that. But all right, let's get into it. Chapter 4 and 5. We're doing 4 and 5 because first and foremost, chapter 4 ends in a cliffhanger that I had to watch episode 5, which was that Assane betrays the best friend in the world. I think we all need a Ben. We all need a Ben out there because, when you see that episode and you're seeing Ben with the bracelet and he gets to the end of the maze, right?
Yep.
And then there's just, it all comes together. You realize why Assane was dressed up as a landscaper earlier in the episode. And you're like, what's he going to do with the maze? Yep. It wasn't to escape, Zach. It was to plant a hedge that wasn't there so that Ben would run into it on his way out.
Yeah. The sad look on his face, man. I felt bad for Ben just seeing him run, get to the end of the maze, hit a wall, and just process everything that happened. Also, have you thought about just squeezing through the hedge? I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, that wasn't like that thick of a hedge. I saw there was like you could squeeze through the corner. Come on.
Well, I wonder if it was the type of hedge. Like sometimes those hedge mazes have fences in the middle, I think. I wonder if it was like that because, damn it, I mean, yeah, if I felt the authorities were behind me, I guess I'd just squeeze through the hedge. But I've been
anything I could.
I've been through some of those hedge mazes, like intense ones. I remember when I was a kid, I was stuck in one for hours. I couldn't find my way out.
Wow.
It was in Virginia. I don't know if it's as epic as it was. We were by the Luray Caverns, and I was like 7 years old. I swear, I think my parents just needed a break from the kids. Because it was me and my cousins just lost in this damn maze. What felt like 2 or 3 hours. It was probably 30 minutes. But I, just imagine being in a maze like from, the Harry Potter Triwizard Tournament. That's what it felt like.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I heard something back in the day when I was a wee little kid.
A wee lad?
Yeah, about how to get out of a maze. Do you remember there was like a show? It was like Ronald McDonald and like had all of like the little characters, like the McDonald's characters in it.
No, I don't think so. At least not.
Okay.
Not that wasn't on my cable box.
there was some. I mean, I rarely saw. There was like a show or a movie or something. And anyways, there was this maze, and I don't know why this like one piece of information. I don't know if it's true or not. It's always stuck with me. Apparently, if you ever find yourself stuck in a maze, the way to get out of a maze, if you just put your hand like on like the right, I don't think it matters which side, but let's just say the right side, right? And you just just keep walking and always keep touching the right side of the maze. Like the wall that you're next to, you'll eventually find your way out.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? Because you'll always be able to keep tabs of where you are in the maze. Like you'll know, like you're never going to touch the same area again. You got to just keep on progressing. Even if you hit a dead end, you will eventually, I guess the same thing would work with your hand on the left-hand side too, right?
That's what I thought too. Like I think it would work with either way, but I don't, that one little piece of information.
Yeah, that is actually some useful stuff.
But it's interesting, right?
If that bit of information helps one of you out there in a dire situation, you know, you can hit us up on Patreon and put a little note in there thanking us that you escaped alive. But yeah, I mean, look, there are some situations in life, like if you're at an abandoned hotel in the middle of winter and, you know, Jack's coming after you with an axe. You ever seen The Shining, Zach?
Oh, I love that movie. Yeah.
Isn't that a maze at the end? That's where he's like the little boy.
I believe it's a maze.
Little boy. What's the little boy's name? Forget his name.
Oh, I don't remember, man.
The Red Rum, that kid.
Yeah, that kid.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, let's get into the episode. That's what the people are here for. And let's kind of just keep a high level of what we're talking about here in episode 4 and 5, because we get the realization, which, by the way, I know it's not like cracking a Sherlock Holmes case, but I'll be honest, when you see the flashback and you see Manon back in the day,
yeah,
I was like, that girl looks identical to the girl who has her head shaved in the future. And I'm like, it's got to be Keller. It has to be Keller who's behind all this. And sure enough, at the end of episode 5, well, not even before then, we find out before Assane finds out, right?
Yeah.
That Keller is the one behind.
Basically.
Yeah. And it's a serious matter because, I mean, it's not like Assane he's never really mistreated Ben. Let's set the record straight. He's never betrayed Ben for whatever reason. Okay?
Yeah.
So, well, you made the comment off air, you're like, Ben's the best friend in the world. Because in episode 5, I'm assuming why you were saying it was because Ben refused to give up Assane.
Yeah, he's loyal, man. He's loyal even after being betrayed. Like he has that much trust in his friend that, you know, he's gonna pull through. Like there's a reason. Like that's a lot of trust.
I would assume, you know, that I'm not gonna say there's a limit to that trust, but he's assuming because Assane's never done him dirty in the past that we know of, that Assane has some master plan, because he always has a master plan, right?
Yes.
However, I will say Ben's entire business is done for. Okay. That property that ever expands to the left and right, that is Assane's lair of escapades, that has all his equipment and all his gear. I'm assuming that is going to all be done away with now, right? Unless actually in episode 5, when they do storm the place, they don't actually discover that. They don't discover the fact that, because Assane is behind the mirror when Sophia comes into the room. Correct. And so they actually don't discover his whole lair. But he did end up showing it to Guedira because they partner up, which Guedira is a good guy, man. He's actually able to put aside, you know, the law to help a more righteous cause, which is to save Assane's mother. Which, considering Assane grew up with Keller as his, you know, adopted father in a way, right?
Yeah.
He must really think that Keller's serious about this, or whoever's behind this is serious enough to betray Ben, right? But then again, he doesn't find out it's Keller until the very end of episode 5. So he makes that decision to betray Ben before knowing how serious the person is.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I don't know that you have to know who the person is. I mean, if they have your mother, like they've at least gone through the extent of, or to the extent of kidnapping your mother. I mean, look, I'd probably trust that they might kill her or something if I don't do what they want. Like I could understand just, kind of giving in to that.
It takes me back to a similar scenario.
Oh, that's interesting.
Do you remember from a previous podcast of ours, a character who had to make a tough decision between betraying a loved one to save his mother's life?
It sounds vaguely familiar. Why don't you refresh me?
I'll give you the first letter of his name, M.
What's the show?
Oh, come on. This is an easy one. This was our first show.
Why can I not think of it?
Yeah, you must be having a brain fart, sir.
I am, man. It's been one of them weeks, one of them months,
Well,
I got baby brain. You can't.
I'll help
can't
you
hit
out.
me with that.
Michael from Peaky Blinders, when he has to make a very difficult call. We won't spoil that for you, but if you want to catch our Peaky Blinders coverage, you can see the Michael and Luca Changretta dilemma that occurs in season 3?
4?
No, 3.
3?
Yeah, 3.
It's one of them. It's
yeah, 3 or 4.
It's much better on second watch. I'll say that. It was better than I remembered.
No, 4. It's 4. Season 4. Yeah. All right, let's continue onward here. Claire has a growing curiosity, as Raoul does. I'm going to give Raoul credit here, right, for starting this whole, persistence to believe that Assane is alive. And so Claire starts diving in to Lupin herself by going to the library, checking out books in disguise, because she's probably the second most recognizable face in all of France at the moment. There's t-shirts of Assane all throughout the library, and her face is just scattered throughout all the tabloids.
Yeah. And let's not forget that almost everybody in the library is going to the Lupin section to find some of them books and look for clues themselves.
Are they looking for clues, or are they just into the series of Lupin because he's created this obsession, so to speak, with the lore of the series, right?
I think if you're into Lupin, you have to be looking for clues.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe.
Like it would be like being like, imagine being that into like Sherlock Holmes and seeing some big event and just going and be like, I'm gonna go read all these books, and not for a moment thinking about like different clues and different patterns and trying to identify things. Like, I imagine to some level, like you're looking for something other than just a good read.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It would be cool to see a character who's kind of like I guess we do have that character in Guedira. He knows Lupin so well that he's able to pick up on Assane being alive before really having the proof that Assane is alive.
Yeah.
By being able to quote that book.
Patterns. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he's like, oh, this has happened before. Well, he's Lupin. Lupin doesn't die, right? That doesn't happen. Oh, in this book, this happened. I mean, to the point of, I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, he knows a lot about Lupin.
Yeah, I mean, it seems Assane's also left some clues for Claire, right? Of how to find out whether he's alive or not as well.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know that he left it for Claire, because he seemed to be so into the fact that he didn't and doesn't want Claire to know that he's alive, at least not now. I think he had intended to earlier on until his mother was kidnapped.
I do think everything changes now with Ben being betrayed and now a criminal, right? Like because he's always been the face that's been absolved, right? He's always had, plausible deniability with everything that's occurred, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now he's officially an accomplice, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So you figure, even if these guys save Assane's mother, there's no scenario where the French can just throw their laws out the window and not put these two in jail. So this has to begin not only a life on the run for Assane, but a life on the run for Ben. And then if Claire and Raoul want to join, then they also will have to choose to be on the run for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, Claire didn't want to go on the run before.
Seems Claire doesn't want to, but Raoul definitely seems interested in this and taking it after his father, if you asked me.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been interested in the Lupin books that his dad gave him. I imagine anybody's going to want to find out that your dad's not actually dead. That would be a nice thing to learn.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean he always seems interested in the Lupin books. He loves the mystery. He loves trying to identify these things and learn the truth. So
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm going to tell you this. Unless Assane did something incredibly horrible to Keller, the truth is, in my opinion, that this was just a pure vindictive plot for Assane to have to betray Ben, right? To actually spend the years of your life that Keller would have had to have spent to plan something like this means that something drastic happened between him and Assane that we've yet to find out, and we'll probably find out between chapter 6 and 7. But you think about it, this whole ploy, everything, even Assane is like lightly trying to let Ben know it had to be this way. There was no other way. Like he's telling Ben, he's slipping in kind of subtle hints, right? That Ben realizes only after he's arrested that Assane always intended to pin this on Ben.
Yeah. Do you think Assane did something with Manon?
No, I don't. I think that was just Bruno's way of... He's a jealous son, right? He doesn't have a family. He's kind of an orphan. And now Assane is the star child. And kids who are still developing their character, whatever he turns out to be, right? There's pivotal moments in like the forming of character, right? For Bruno in that moment, he decided that to let that jealousy lead to betraying his friend, right? Because he starts by betraying Assane by making up a lie to Keller. Now, we may find out that lie was actually true, that he was doing something with Manon. Manon seemed a little bit into Assane in that flashback. And one would wonder, the way Keller treats everybody around that facility, whether that relationship with Manon is consensual, so to speak. Because he kind of rules that place with an iron fist, right?
Yeah, and definitely. I mean, literally, like force these kids to fight.
You made a good point about that it wasn't so much encouraged; it was a required boxing match where they were both going to be kicked out of the ring. Now, I will say this: there is something to two friends fighting. I don't think like this though. I think it's more when you meet when some stranger is like fighting with you, that you could form a friendship with that person on a different level, like a different kind of respect. But I don't know about a friendship level like this where Bruno and Assane, like this is leading to a bigger event, right? And it seems to have led to something because we get hints that something happened worse than this, right? Now, what that is, I'm very intrigued to find out. But I do wonder at what point this whole plan came to mind for Keller, where he was targeting Assane's mother, right? Who would have been the one to tell Keller that Assane was actually alive? It had to have been Bruno, possibly.
That's what I would imagine. I would imagine Bruno would be the one to give him up.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, the fact that, I mean, it seems so personal that it makes me wonder if it was because of something that Assane did with Manon. I mean,
why? But Manon is still working with Keller. You get me? Like, if
but
I mean,
it doesn't mean that they couldn't have moved on from something, right?
I don't know. If it was that, like, think about it. If you're gonna go after this guy for doing something with her, right?
Yeah.
How would you? And you're not over that. You're just chilling, working with her, letting her kind of roam freely. You know what I mean? He doesn't. He doesn't seem like the guy who would just let one stay and the other one not. I think it had something to do with either Assane stealing from him, or something. Maybe Keller went to prison for a mistake Assane made. I don't know. What it could have been. It does kind of point in the direction of Keller going down for a crime. We do know that on the flashback, Claire doesn't like Keller very much. So perhaps there's a growing rift there because we know Assane ends up with Claire, right? Maybe something got in the way there. Maybe Keller put her at risk. Assane had to make a tough choice, blah, blah, blah. And now Keller ended up in prison for like 20 years or some crap. And then, he comes back out with a vengeance, which I'm all for, right? Because this show kind of needed that overarching villain, right? We were missing, Pellegrini was that for part 1 and part 2, right? But we were missing that for the direction of where the show's going in now. So,
yeah, it's interesting to see somebody from his past, from far back in his past before before anything we've seen already. Like, I like that it's not Pellegrini again or something.
Yeah,
it's nice to get a little break from that.
You see Pellegrini in this prison cell, rubbing his hands together, and yes, I got him this time. Something like that. Well, the plan in episode 5 is to coordinate this sting operation with Guedira to sell or to buy the Monet painting that he knows that Keller is going to have to, or the guy who's in charge of this group is going to have to sell in order to get the money, right?
Yes.
So that's the plan here, is to kind of have this sting operation so that Assane can get to the bottom of who is behind this. And it does lead to Manon seemingly getting arrested. Where do you think that goes?
I imagine it would make Keller kind of go off the deep end. I mean, I imagine you're gonna up the ante, right? You've got his love arrested.
Do you think she's gonna be as loyal as Ben and not snitching on Keller? Because that's what they seem to be setting up here, right? Like, who's more loyal? Is the Keller who rules with an iron fist loyal and through fear? Or Assane, who trusts his friends and trusts people? He even trusts a damn dog when he was, faking his death to carry the key.
Buried alive, yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, we always do see a lot of parallels, right, between storylines.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she will be as loyal as Ben is so far, at least. I don't know if he's going to crack under pressure.
There's only a few things that Assane seems to have a code with. He never calls the police for help, for the most part, right? Except here, where he's working with Guedira.
Yeah, sneaks into his office. Hey, what's up?
Yes. But even in doing so, he has a code that he will not go down until his plan is come to fruition. And he doesn't seem to be scared of going to jail, because he's the type of guy who seems like he can escape any sort of jail situation.
He's already been in jail before and escaped, so
yeah. But he does manage to, even in the midst of kind of screwing Guedira over by replacing the recording on his phone, he hooks Guedira up with Sophia, who seems to be equally interested in Guedira the way he is in her, by planting that recording of him confessing his love for her at the restaurant.
She's beautiful. She's wonderful.
Yeah.
I loved the scene here with Assane sneaking into the office.
Into Guedira's office?
Yeah, into Guedira's office. It was just a fun moment. It was like watching a little boy meet his hero,
Yeah, because you get the sense that Guedira, at the same time as needing to arrest Assane, it's like his role model. It's like everything he wanted to be as a kid. No matter what. If
you were Guedira, would you have thrown away your career to help Assane or Lupin, or would you have been like a stickler and just be like, he's in here, give me some cuffs, more?
I think I would have found a way to do both the way Guedira does, because the thing is that you don't know, if you're Guedira, you don't know if this guy's actually noble or not, right? But you get the sense that he's not just a thug. He has a code of honor. He's not doing things that are, morally wrong. He's not killing anybody. He never crosses the line into the truly criminal, in my opinion, right? Even the stuff that he steals, for the most part, is stolen through kind of corrupt means in certain ways. Now, that's the way they paint it, and that's the way they show us the scenes in the show. The reality of that may be different, right, in his earlier career. But
I was going to say, who knows what he did in the past?
But I would try to find a way that absolves me so that I don't have to go to prison. Prison is not a place a cop wants to go to. That is not a place you want to go to. So,
especially if you send half the people that are in there. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be hanging out with him either.
Yeah, I feel like I would need do the same thing, get the confession, all those sorts of things, and then I'm possibly gonna get more from Assane than I would have gotten if I just arrested him straight up. you know?
Mhm.
And then if I arrest him, I might be culpable for his mother dying. You know what I mean? Like there's multiple things there.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that I'd help Assane, you know?
I'd like to think I'd help Assane too. Like it sounds so much fun to just, be on a caper and, just, I don't know, man, just going to dress up and make all these big time criminals look like fools.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to buy that $20 million money with
Yeah.
fake money because they're not going to check the bills and make sure they're real or anything.
Just in a V-store. Unless I was wondering if Assane actually had that amount of money on him or if they just had like
I don't know.
because it was $20 million, right?
That.
And they just
It
like
was $20 million.
it's all here. He just looked at it for a second and it was like, yeah, it's here.
I mean, every time Assane has bought something for a lot of money, he's never had the money.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it could be real.
Did you feel bad for Ben in prison when Claire completely emotionally manipulates him to get the information that Assane's alive?
Yeah.
Did you feel like, damn, Assane screws him, now Claire's screwing him?
Yeah, I felt bad for him.
I was like, damn, man, I just kick this guy while he's down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not even just down, like he's beat up.
Yeah, he's like
got cuts
for
all
real,
over his
man.
face.
Like, goodness
manipulate him,
gracious.
and then you
true.
tell him like, yeah, I didn't know.
Like, Lord knows what's happening to Ben in prison, you know?
Yeah, son of a
You know what I mean? Like, do you think it's because, the assumption I always have with prison is that, like, people are getting raped in there left and right, like in the showers and stuff like that.
I've heard it does happen quite a lot.
And Ben looks like a kind of soft dude.
He's very soft. He's a small guy.
Because think about it. If you imagine if that stuff's going down, like he's getting the crap beaten out of him, and hopefully that's the worst of it. Like, hopefully it ends at the beatings, right? That the cops break it up and, whatever. But could you imagine if it was worse and he's still staying loyal to Assane? Like, that's like not the best friend in the world. That's like name the show after him,
Yeah.
Just Ben. Just
It's kind of a boring ass name.
I think we should change the show logo
Ben.
to Ben. Man.
All the beatings and the cuttings. Yeah.
Oh, now you remember shit from Peaky Blinders.
Well, yeah, I don't mind. Like, I literally
that was a
sat
Peaky
to him
Blinders
like,
reference, folks. And Zach's now his baby brain is you don't understand. Me and him have probably each rewatched Peaky Blinders like at least 2 or 3 times through.
3 or 4
individually.
Well, I'm doing it again right now.
Are you? Where are you in the series now?
I think I just got to season 4. Oh, I think season 6 finally came out on Apple TV Plus, so I bought it like a month ago.
Do you know it's streaming on Netflix for free?
Yeah, but I want to own it. And it hasn't been on Apple TV for like years. It finally came out, so I know. But I want to own it, man. I'm like, nah. I feel like I like to own my movies and own my shows.
Yeah, I get you.
On a cloud that could be ripped away from me at any moment.
Yeah, I've kind of. So I like the idea of digitally owning everything, but recently, I've been thinking about getting back into collecting Blu-rays of things.
Analog.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I mean,
simply it's like longevity, just you actually own the physical. Yeah, but I like the digital thing. I just wish there was a nicer way to display it,
I agree. The digital thing is cool. I wish there were a nicer way to display it. I wish there was like, I don't know, some more official like looking proof of ownership or something like that, where it's like
put it on the blockchain.
You could have confidence that it wouldn't be just taken away from you. The other thing I don't like about the digital stuff is as times change, if the thing that you own is digital, a company can just go back and put new disclaimers in front of it or change something, or if they want to change something. And that I don't like. Like, I like to have like, look, this is like a rasterized, like rendered version that cannot change. Like, it can't just be manipulated on a whim. That's the only issue that I really have with anything digital. It's just like that idea of like permanence doesn't exist.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Also, I've always felt, or I always wished, that that a physical copy should come with a digital copy. Personally,
yes, 100%. You're buying it. Like, why do you have to make me pay twice for the same thing in different formats? It's stupid.
Yeah, I've always wanted that to be the case, even if it was like that. The physical version was $10 more, but you also had a digital version. Like, I would kind of be into that because I'd have both. I wouldn't have to be switching discs in and out. you know. But yeah. Anyways, that's a tangent.
If I remember correctly, some Blu-rays though did come with a code back in the day, and you could download a digital version.
Back in the day, yes, because I had Interstellar on like an outdated Sony thing that's been sunsetted already, and and I also own it on Blu-ray. So like it's weird stuff like that. They should do that though. They should go back. Like I always felt like books also. Like if I buy a physical book, I should be able to get
digital. I know.
Yeah, I agree.
Same.
Or the audiobook. You know, like I want whatever version of this, like I want all of the versions, you know?
Especially when there's like no cost to them to have the digital version.
Exactly, exactly.
Come on.
100%. I had a point I wanted to bring up before we round out the episode and look forward. Actually, first and foremost, you want to talk about this coat guy who they go and take pretty much his operation from, you know, when they go to rob the bracelet in episode 4. I'm assuming that coat guy, that employee's life is ruined, because if you're investigating a scene, you're assuming that guy's in on it.
He would be, he'd be the first person I would look into, 100%. Also, like, I mean, I'm not familiar with how much like French money's worth and all of that, but I find it hard to believe that you're going to be able to. I mean, I feel like you'd have to be able to sustain the rest of your life on whatever was in that envelope. And
I hope so,
it's
bro.
Probably fake.
No, it can't be fake. You think Assane's putting fake money in there, man? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I think these guys got a ton of money, man. I think these guys got a ton of money. I don't even think that layer is their only layer. Similar to how they had that storage unit earlier in like one of the earlier parts of Lupin. Like, I think that they got multiple layers. Like this is the onions just unpeeling.
Yeah, they keep peeling back.
In the back of the onion.
I don't know. Let's say the money's real and we're not skeptical about that. Like, I just don't think that would be enough money to sustain your life. Like, that guy lives in a nice place. Like, I wish I lived in a place that looked that nice, but no.
You know what's funny?
I live in the US.
Is the well, you live in a section of the US that the amount of money that you need to buy a nice place,
oh my God,
is ridiculous. By the way, Goldman Sachs and I think Wells Fargo or another major bank predicted an incoming housing crisis. I mean, it's insane what's going on with the prices right now.
Yeah, the interest rate's what kills you.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. You're not really familiar with video games that much, like developers and like the world of video game development, but the disguise that Guedira has on makes him look a lot like Hideo Kojima, like the creator of Metal Gear Solid. I think it's like the same exact haircut. Like, if I can look this up real quick.
That's funny. He looks familiar to me, but I don't know who he looks like.
Yeah, I'm sending you a picture of Kojima. Just imagine him with like gray hair, and you can kind of see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I saw him,
it does kind of look like him.
I was like, this looks just like Kojima for some reason, but minus the beard, obviously.
Yeah.
All right. So where do you think this show is going from here? Because we have Raoul, who discovers the tunnel, which I'm assuming leads to Claire also knowing at the same time, right? Yeah. We have Keller being realized by Assane as being truly behind this. Manon is probably going to be interrogated by the police as to who's behind everything. Ben is still in prison, getting the shit beat out of him every day. Like, just goodness gracious, man.
Lunchtime.
Oh man.
Jeez.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. Guedira and Sophia. I put Guedira and all the journalists like on the same kind of boat. All those storylines have to come together. Where do you see this heading?
Well, I feel like we're on the path to see Claire and Raoul get back with Assane.
Okay.
I mean, they just won't give this up. They won't.
Do you think they get used against him in any way in this season again? I would hope not, that they don't do that again. Like, does Keller have any sort of,
Look, I could see it. I mean, he's gone after Hassan's mother, right? Yeah. Like this, like whatever this is, feels very personal.
He's got no limits.
Like it really feels. I mean, he's kind of a major douchebag too.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know we've got a couple episodes left of the season to see how it all develops. But I mean, the bits that we've seen of him thus far, like he's a douchebag. I mean, every time, like Claire can see straight through him. stands out to him, and he's so angry, right? Plus, I mean, we know Keller and Claire have a little bit of a past too, where Keller's just generally pissed off with her and unhappy with her. So I think we're on the path to see Claire and Raoul get back together with Assane.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Manon is going to crack.
Okay.
I don't. I think Assane is going to figure this out on his own, like with his own wit and luck or whatever you want to say that he has.
Well, he has to break Ben out of prison. Like, in order to make things right, he has to break Ben out of prison. He has to bring down Keller, free Manon, because I think he's going to try to help Manon out. Bruno's going to get involved somehow, right? Maybe helping get Ben out of prison. And then Claire and him and Raoul have to dip. Unless this all doesn't get resolved by the end of part 3, and we head into part 4, continuing this saga, which I think is the most likely scenario here. They've built Keller up too much to resolve this in 2 more episodes for me.
I don't know. I feel like it's moving kind of fast.
They're going to do the invasion treatment. Hassan's going to wake up and say, I can sketch the inside of Keller's
his mind,
his criminal lair.
I can draw a map to where he lives.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it is kind of moving a little quickly, but I feel like I felt the same way in the first part. Mm-hmm. Granted, it was only 5 chapters.
Yes.
And, I mean, well, it carried on for another chapter.
Mm-hmm.
So, or another part, I should say.
Okay.
So who knows?
All right. Shall we get into some categories here?
Let's get into some categories. I'm gonna throw a new one into the mix since we're covering 2 episodes. Which episode was better, 4 or 5?
4, 100%.
You think? What makes you say that?
The Ben betrayal caught me so off guard that it's the better episode of the 2, in my opinion. I was so shocked. We were on track to do these episodes individually, but then I texted you, like, I don't know when I texted you, but I was like, you got to watch both, because I did the no. I watched 2 episodes instead of watching one at a time.
It's okay. I forgive you.
Thank
you were right though that the 2 episodes do go together very well.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with episode 5. I thought episode 4 was great. Like, don't get me wrong, but I really liked episode 5. I thought it was very fun.
Mm-hmm.
It felt a little better because he didn't betray Ben. Seeing Yusuf's outfit and his involvement in this, it was fun. I was happy to see Yusuf back in the game, right? And then I also thought the reveal was very interesting that the villain is Steve Harvey.
He does look like Steve Harvey.
Doesn't he?
It would be hilarious if it actually was. Damn, that caught me off guard.
It's all I could think about the moment I saw this.
It's the mustache. It's the mustache.
That's all it is. It's the mustache.
The
it's just
and the mustache.
All I can think of. But no.
Episode 4 would have been like a pull your hair out, frustrating mid-season finale if they wanted to. That would have been like, you think about it. Imagine that as if they would have cut it off and said, part 4 coming out in January.
Yeah.
Like exactly. That's how it ends. It ends in such a way that it could have been like a mid-season finale. I wonder if there was discussions, but all right.
Yeah. The thing that saved Assane for me at the end of episode 4, I think, looking back on it, was the fact that he stayed to watch. I feel like if he just left and then it was showing you all of like the cut betweens of like what happened, you'd be like,
yeah,
wow.
Well, doesn't Ben almost like look up at him in the window?
He does. Yeah, he sees him in the window. Yeah.
I have a what was I gonna say? Yeah, I honestly, the next episode of this, I'm watching 6 and 7 straight through. So the next podcast episode, folks, watch the next 2, finish it with us, and we're gonna just do a tackle of episode or chapter 6 and 7 and tackle it, because I'm not gonna be able to stop at 6. I'm gonna just have to go through and get to the finale. I don't know about you.
If it's anything like this duo of episodes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So expect that, folks, later on this week, probably closer to Friday. And also stay tuned because we're dropping For All Mankind. We're going to go into a full shift. The whole podcast, the whole channel's changing. It's going to be all For All Mankind and Legacy of Monsters within the next 2 weeks. And we got a lot of For All Mankind stuff coming. Zach is I'd say he's the more resident expert of For All Mankind since he's the one who got me into that show. So yeah, I'm going to lean on him on For All Mankind to help me remember everything that occurred. Anyways,
I feel like I actually remember a decent amount of it, which is nice for once. Baby brain coming through.
We've also added a new feature to the channel that we're going to be unveiling very soon, and that is live stream. We have found some great tools to introduce that into the channel. We're also going to be able to have some capabilities down the road. We don't know when down the road, but all of you who are loyal Patreon members, paying, subscribing Patreon members who support the show, you will have an opportunity through segments in the show to chime in, perhaps for a supporter-only segment where you come on and we ask you about the show, what you thought. And I think that's a pretty cool thing. We have the ability now with a certain software that we're using in order to bring on guests onto the show, which I think is really dope. And I think the live stream format is just, I love the rawness of like live, my whole life I've always loved like just you got to get it right while the cameras are rolling. Like I love that.
I feel we're doing it live.
So we won't be able to like edit out anything that we say, whether controversial or not. But we don't shy away from the controversial, right, Zach?
No, not at all. We've covered some shows.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move out of here. Stay tuned. Lupin, we cap it this week. We're going to change the show, the thumbnail to Story Archives soon because I'm sick of seeing it. And it needs to change. It needs to change. So that will be changing soon. And maybe the title of the podcast again will be changing, which we know frustrates some of you out there. But we're going to decide. We're going to see which one is better, For All Mankind or Legacy of Monsters. I'm leading Legacy of Monsters personally. That's going to be the theme. That'll be the focus for the next month or 2 months.
Legacy of Monsters would be a very different show for us to start. So I'm very excited about that. I haven't watched a show of this type from Apple or really any streaming.
I'm gonna say something that I didn't want to say, but it's what I honestly feel. I think that this is going to be our biggest show since Silo. I think it's going to be that kind of a hit for Apple. I think that's what this Legacy of Monsters is probably going to turn into.
Well, we shall see. Anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of Lupin by Story Archives. You can find this podcast anywhere you find podcasts, Apple and Spotify podcasts. We are on YouTube at Soapbox Podcast Network. You can visit our website at soapbox.house, email us at contact@soapbox.house, and there is a link in the description below to sign up for our quarterly newsletter. Hope to see you there.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Until next time, have a good week.